important. Mobile use. I won't go too far into this, but look at this here, at the bottom here. This is an open source tool here. And it's already 1/3 of the world's operating systems are now Nokia Symphony. That's incredible. Look at Microsoft. Sorry, Bill. Wherever you are. You're losing on the mobile front. More facts for you. 90% have mobile connectivity now. 90% of people in the world. I told you about the South Africans. This is exciting because this means that it will change lives. 4.1 billion mobile phone subscribers in the world. This is more than 2/3 of the world's population. 1.27 billion fixed line and going down all the time. I saw some phones in Brussels airport yesterday and I thought, what are those? But of course, very few people use them these days. Everybody has a mobile phone in their pocket now. 22 countries now have more phones than people, and the USA is not one of them. And here's just some more facts for you. Facebook is on the rise. 61% of educators say they have a Facebook account. Who has a Facebook account here? See, more hands than Twitter. Twitter is down the bottom at the moment. What about YouTube? Who has used YouTube with their students? Again, an impressive amount of people. Who has used Twitter with their students? Some of you, not so many. So it's 3, 2, 1, like so. It depends on the tool. It also depends on what you are trying to convey. But I want to say this to you. Try not to concentrate on the technology. Think more about the pedagogy. In other words, don't think about the tools you are using. Think about what they are for. You don't see an electrician coming into your house to wire something for you, and he's saying, look at these tools, these are amazing tools. This is a drill I have here, and here is a wire cutter, and this is a potentiometer for measuring the voltage. No, he doesn't do that. He concentrates on the job of wiring your house. So why do we as teachers concentrate so much on the technology? It's just a tool. It's like a pencil. That's all it is. Maybe a bit more complicated, but it's simply a tool. So we should concentrate more on the learning, on the pedagogy behind it. And here are some trends for you to think about. These are 6 trends that David Wiley suggests about openness. He suggests that we're moving from the analog to the digital, from the tethered to the mobile, and so on. And here's the challenge. Only 2 of those have actually been realized. Only the top 2 have been realized when we talk about e-learning, whatever the E stands for. The rest we have a problem with, and the question is, we have the technology to do this, but do we actually have the will to become more open? Well, we'll see in the near future. I love this quote from Kevin Kelly. How can technology make a person better? Only in this way, by providing each person with chances, opportunities. I was involved in a project in the United States in a place called South Dakota. You know where this is? South Dakota, in the middle of America, where Mount Rushmore is. And it's a very, very thinly populated state. It's maybe 350 kilometers by 450 kilometers square, and there are less than 3/4 of a million people living there. So it's very, very sparsely populated. And back in 2001, we had a project where we wired every school, 320 schools in the whole of the state, with broadband technology. In 2001, this was very, very groundbreaking work. We put in full motion video into every classroom. We had a budget from the government to do it. And do you know how the governor of the state actually wired the schools? He got the prisoners from the prison, the state penitentiary. They dressed in their orange overalls and they went out in road gangs with armed guard, and they went out into all the schools. Yeah, nightmare, wouldn't it? For child safety. But they went into all the schools and they wired all of the schools for free. And the story goes that that there was this prisoner standing on a stepladder with his shoulders and his head inside the ceiling, and he was pulling these cables through. Like so. And this little boy walked in, saw him, and saw what he was doing, and walked up to him and had the courage to go and tucked his trousers and said, "Mister," he said, "Yep." He said, "Are you one of the prisoners?" And the prisoner said, "Yep," and carried on pulling the cables. Another time, "Mister, did you do something bad to get into prison?" "Yep." "Mister, can I ask you what you did that was so bad to get you into prison?" "When I was in school, I didn't listen to my teacher." It's a teachable moment. You can use these moments to teach your children. He wasn't even a teacher. This is how important it is. Education is all about drawing people out from within, providing the best possible means for them to learn new things. Things that will affect their lives forever, till the day they die. That little boy will never forget that meeting with that prisoner. And I bet you he will always listen to his teacher in school, because he doesn't want to go into prison himself. This is what it's about. It's about providing chances, providing opportunities for our next generation. Children are not the future, they are the now. Would you agree? They are the now. They're not the future, they are the now. So here we go, open learning. The Open University of the United Kingdom gave me a second chance. When I was in school, my teachers said to my parents, they said, "Steve's a very nice lad, he's very sociable. He makes friends very well. Lots of friends. In fact, he's the class clown. He gives it this all the time. He talks, he doesn't listen much, but he talks a lot. And you can expect him to be very good with his hands, but don't ever think that he will be an academic." Well, I'd like to meet that teacher now. Because although I left school with no qualifications, I subsequently went to the British Open University when I was in my 30s, and I did a degree in psychology. I did my teacher qualifications afterwards at the local university. Then I did a master's degree, and then a research degree, and now I'm a professor. It just shows you, it's not about what you do necessarily in the school, it's what goes on in your mind that's more important. It's what is your will to succeed. And the university, the Open University of the United Kingdom, was my university of the second chance. It gave me a second chance. This is why I believe passionately in open education, open learning. The ability to get into education at any stage in your life and achieve what you want to achieve, to be who you want to be, without any barriers, without any walls, without any doors being closed on you. The ideal of global intellectual commons, says Sir John Daniel, who was a former Chancellor of the Open University, it's becoming a reality as the licensing of content of open educational resources makes it possible for students to find and adapt quality learning materials on almost any subject in the world. It's there already online for you. But as Sugata Mitra said, the slumdog professor, the hole-in-the-wall man, you've heard of him. He said, teachers should not provide answers. The answers are already out there on the internet. Teachers should provide the questions. That's the role of the teacher. The role of the teacher is to provide questions, and the student's role is to go away and find the answers. That's where learning occurs. Because they have to find them, they have to work for it. It's a hard thing to do. This is why teachers will never be out of a job. Teachers will not be replaced by computers. Do you know that? Arthur C. Clarke said, any teacher who can be replaced by a computer should be. This is what open educational resources do. They provide people with adaptability, flexibility, access, but it has to be shared freely in the first place. I'm going to give these slides to you for free, because that's the kind of guy I am. And I'm going to put them up onto SlideShare later on so that you can look at these again at your leisure. But it's about community, importantly, this. It's more about people than it is about content. Wikipedia. We tell our students, oh, don't touch Wikipedia, it's untrustworthy. You mustn't quote from Wikipedia because we don't know whether it's true or not. Actually, Wikipedia is fairly accurate because it's written by postgraduate students. The majority of students, majority of users on Wikipedia are postgraduate students who have a passionate interest in the subject they are writing about. So the good thing about Wikipedia is that it's about openness. There is no closing point. It's never finished. It goes on. And just like knowledge does, there's always more to add to it. And that's an important thing about open content. Open source. It's about self-enhancement and diversity. It's about interactive communities. It's about people again. And when we look at all the open source content out there, we look at things like Firefox and WordPress, some of the operating systems, some of the programming languages, some of the platforms, and of course, Moodle itself. You can see why these tools exist. Because they give people a second chance. Talking about Mahara. The thing about Mahara is quite interesting because, imagine that. We wouldn't get them all in this room. 33,000 students. So what does my university do? They buy 33,000 licenses for PebblePad, which is a proprietary e-portfolio. Now the interesting thing about PebblePad is you have to pay for it. And that means we pay for each license. But the other problem with e-portfolios like PebblePad is that when the student leaves the university and goes to find a job, and just when they need that e-portfolio the most, it's no longer available to them. There's a logic in that, isn't there, somewhere?